Inspired by games like A Short Hike and Animal Crossing, our first indie of the week is Haven Park, a relaxing adventure starring Flint, a young chick with the head the size of a football, tasked with restoring a natural park to its former glory. The developer, Fabian Weibel, started the game as something to do during lockdown, a bit like me with this channel, and the end product is one of the most wholesome experiences you'll play this year. Haven Park is littered with rundown campsites, so the first order of business is to spruce them up with new tents, barbecues, benches and the like. Once renovated, campers will start to visit, and there's over 30 for Flint to meet. Building items requires resources, which can be found as you trek around the park. The building management aspects of the game are pretty simplistic, but enjoyable nonetheless. You can also level up and get skill points to unlock new abilities. These range from finding more resources, to expanding your field of vision, to adding more details to your map. Haven Park is a lovely cosy management come exploration game that is bursting with colour, adorable characters and side quests aplenty. It's out now on the PC and also the Nintendo Switch. Toodee and Topdee has a unique gameplay mechanic. At the press of a button, you're able to switch between two perspectives and genres, from 2D platformer to top-down puzzler. It's a game starring two unlikely heroes whose worlds merge after the great semicolon is stolen. It can be played alone or in local co-op. Starring the titular Toodee and Topdee, your task is to navigate both characters to an end-level portal. Getting them there is often a real challenge and will require you to exploit the laws of gravity. For example, Topdee can push blocks, Toodee can stand on them. In some of the early levels, you'll have to jump forward with the latter, switch perspectives, move the block so that Toodee lands on it when you switch back. The impossible becomes possible when the two work together. It really is a clever, innovative game. New mechanics are introduced across the 6 chapters, with your perspective shifting ability becoming a weapon for the end of chapter boss fights. It's not often I play a game and think, I've never done that before, but that is just the case with this puzzler. Featuring 2 adorable protagonists, super creative mechanics, a synth soundtrack and gorgeous pixel art, Toodee and Topdee is an absolute must play for anyone who likes a good puzzle game. It's out now on the PC via Steam, and will almost certainly make its way to the Nintendo Switch in the near future. I first played Lifeslide when it released on Apple Arcade in 2019. I enjoyed it then, but I have to say the developers have really gone to town with quality of life improvements for this week's PC release. You control a paper plane on an atmospheric journey through the stages of life, and it's presented abstractly across 28 beautiful levels. Mastery of your plane is essential if you want to reach the end of each area. To help you on your flight, there's collectible speed boosts, keys to unlock hidden paths, yellow crystals to increase your time, and blue crystals for upgrading skills in between runs. It's a game of choice, about balancing greed with necessity, just like life, I suppose. And if getting through the main campaign isn't enough for you, there's unlockable planes, endless and zen modes, weekly challenges, and much more to keep you busy. It's a game for anyone and everyone. With its serene musical score that guides you on your path and beautifully constructed low poly environments, Lifeslide is not just a game but an audio-visual experience. If you enjoy games like Flower and even Journey, this is a flight you're really going to want to take. It's available now for the first time on PC via the Steam store, but as mentioned earlier, it's also on Apple Arcade. In stark contrast to the vibrancy of Haven Park and Lifeslide, in Grime we have a game pretty much devoid of colour, and one which lives up to its name in more ways than one. Taking inspiration from Metroidvanias and Souls-like games, Grime is a brutal 2.5D action RPG featuring a surreal alien world replete with misshapen creatures and grotesque bosses. Born into existence after a cataclysmic event, you take control of a rather nondescript rock creature who has a black hole for a head. Said black hole gives you the ability to destroy enemies by absorbing their attacks. It's a unique feature that works similar to parry moves in other games, but absorbing enemies can also bring you new powers. On top of this, you're able to wield huge melee weapons made from living creatures which move and scream as you bring them down on your foes. It's not often you get to whip foes with a centipede in a game, is it? Combat is responsive and takes inspiration from Dark Souls. Each swing of your weapon uses stamina, as does your dash dodge move. Getting the balance and timing right is key to success. Button mashing will get you nowhere here. And like any good RPG, there's an upgrade skill tree system, allowing you to customise your character to suit your own personal playstyle. This is a tough game. It's bizarre, incomprehensible at times, uncomfortable, but it's an absolute joy to play. Destroy, absorb and grow now on the PC via Steam, GOG and the Epic Game Store. Taking the top spot this week is a game that's been in development for several years. Death Trash finally sees the light of day on Steam in early access, and you're probably wondering, has it been worth the wait? Well, in my opinion, it's a resounding yes. Death Trash features one of the weirdest plots imaginable, but it's strangely compelling. Supposedly, long ago, flesh fell from the sky and the flesh gods were born, and so meat is everywhere. People worship it, they crave it, but tend to puke often. In fact, you have a designated puke button, and there's an achievement for getting 5 people to puke at once here. The early access build features a good 5 or so hours of content, with several main quests and side quests to complete. The full game is expected to be at least 3 times the size of what it is now. The real-time combat is satisfying, with various melee weapons and guns equipable. The game looks gorgeous and features some of the best pixel art of 2021, particularly when it comes to character design. Exploring the overworld map and discovering new places is enjoyable. There's random encounters, Final Fantasy style, but combat can be avoided if you're stealthy. There's a levelling up system with various skill trees, a crafting system and much more, although some of these things aren't fully developed in the current build. If you fancy finding a friend for a lonely flesh kraken, having a drink at the puke bar, or hunting down thieves who've stolen a giant titan's heart, check out Death Trash now. It's available on PC via various storefronts. And that's it for this week in indie gaming. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the I Love Indies channel and also hit that like button to help feed the algorithm. I'll be back next week with more great indies to check out, but in the meantime, here's a sneak peek at Button City, a super colourful low poly adventure out on the PS4, Nintendo Switch and PC on August the 11th. Until the next video guys, keep loving indies.